Hello, everyone. This is Deacon Michael Pascarella, and today is Wednesday, April the 8th, 2020. It is Wednesday of Holy Week, and tomorrow begins what we call on the Christian calendar, particularly in the Catholic Church, the Sacred Triduum. It contains, as the name suggests, three different events. On Thursday evening, on Holy Thursday, we celebrate the Mass of the Lord's Supper and commemorate Christ's institution of the Eucharist. On Friday, Good Friday, we commemorate Christ's passion and death. And on Saturday evening, Holy Saturday, we celebrate the Easter Vigil, which brings us to Easter Sunday and the resurrection, where we celebrate the lighting of the new fire and the blessing of the baptismal water and a very beautiful liturgy of the Word, which gives us our entire salvation history summarized in several readings. And, of course, a celebration of the Eucharist commemorating Christ's passion, death, and his resurrection, which brings us to Easter Sunday. And now we look forward to that resurrection in the Easter season. In our last video, I discussed the Charism Mass, which also traditionally happens on Holy Thursday. This year, it was moved to Monday because of the coronavirus pandemic. And what happens at that Charism Mass, in addition to the blessing of the various oils that's used by the Church throughout the year, is a commemoration of the priesthood, Christ's institution of the priesthood during the Last Supper. Well, that evening at the Mass of the Lord's Supper, there is also another commemoration which oftentimes gets missed, and that is a commemoration of the Diaconate. That takes place during the washing of the feet, which commemorates Jesus washing the feet of the apostles during the Last Supper. And that account is given in great detail in John's Gospel. The other three Gospels, the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, focus on the institution of the Eucharist at the Last Supper, where John's Gospel focuses on the washing of the feet to make the point that Jesus is the ultimate servant. He is the deacon par excellence, and he came into the world not to be served, but rather to serve humanity through charity, through love, and by offering himself on the cross. When Jesus begins to wash the feet of the apostles, Peter objects, and he says, "Lord, you're the Christ. You're not washing my feet. I should be washing your feet." And Jesus says, "Well, then if I don't wash your feet, you're not of the kingdom," pretty much. And Peter realizes what's going on here, and he says, "Oh, no, Lord. Okay, my mistake. Not only my feet, but please wash my hands and my head as well." Peter gets it, at least in that moment. He understands what Jesus' mission is. Jesus comes to be a minister of charity, and charity is the greatest charism of the deacon. That's why the symbol of the diaconate is the icon of Christ washing the feet of the apostles, meaning that we are to go out into the world, all of us, but particularly through the charism of the deacon, we are to go out into the world and be ministers of charity, of service, explaining and expressing our love for one another through our works of charity to our fellow human being. A deacon has three charisms, not just charity, but also a charism of minister of the word, in which he proclaims the gospel and on occasion preaches, and minister of the altar, where the deacon assists the priest and bishop in the celebration of the Eucharist. It begins with charity, however, and that charism of charity exists in a man's heart who is discerning a call to holy orders, to the diaconate, and is that desire of charity and humility that leads him to the diaconate. It is expressed sacramentally during the Mass as a minister of the word and minister of the altar, and that is why he's dressed in vestments, in an alb, a cincture, a stole, and a dalmatic. Those vestments symbolize his sacramental role as a minister of the word and a minister of the altar. But then he's to follow his own command that he gives to the people to go in peace, go out into the world and live what you just experienced. And in doing so, that is why the deacon dresses like this. Because the clerical attire is not a sign of clericalism or to set him apart that he's better than anybody else. He's not, just as a priest is not. We're human beings and we're just like everyone else. But what the clerical attire for a deacon is, it's a symbol, it's a sacramental sign of his office of deacon as a minister of charity. So when the deacon goes into the world as a minister of charity, he's recognized. He's recognized as a representative of the church by the way he dresses, but more importantly, not just by the way he dresses. That's the initial recognition. What sets him apart is his acts of charity. So as we begin this most holy time of the year, the Sacred Triduum, we've commemorated the priesthood, the institution of the priesthood. We've discussed how the sacred oils are blessed and consecrated and used in the life of the church. We're preparing for the Lord's Supper. We are going to prepare for his passion and death. The church then goes into a period of great darkness and silence as we await the joy of the resurrection, which we celebrate on Holy Saturday evening leading into Easter Sunday morning. But also during this time, we remember that Christ is a minister of charity. He came to serve, not to be served, and that charity was expressed in the washing of the feet, and that charity is lived out every day by all of her people, but it is the particular charism of the deacon. They are ordained not to the priesthood, but to service of one another, and especially in this time, it just brings everything much, much closer to our minds and our hearts, how we all need to express our love for one another through acts of service in a safe way. But particularly, and let me take this time as a fellow firefighter and former member of law enforcement to say a particular prayer and wish well all those first responders who are out there now protecting all of us: police, firefighters, EMTs, doctors, nurses, and let's not forget all of the people who are working in what we call essential jobs, people in grocery stores, people in restaurants bringing us food curbside, people at gas stations, people in hardware stores, all of that. That's all important, and we remember all of those people. We pray for them and we wish them well, and we pray for an end of this coronavirus and the end of death. And hopefully with the dawning of Easter, we'll see the beginning of the end of this virus and life to return as normal, but this time with a greater sense of our love for the Lord and our love for one another. So may God bless you, and I look forward to being with you again. God bless.